there, Lindsay here. I just got done with some bread and butter pickles. Bread and butter pickles started as a staple in some of the homes of the Great Depression era. So they would use the leftover cucumbers from the garden harvest and make these pickles, and it would be a really fast, really filling dinner to just have bread with butter and these pickles. I like this recipe because you can kind of change it around a little bit. I like mine kind of spicy, but I didn't have my spicy peppers because they're not ready in the garden yet. So mine just has bell pepper this time, but you can switch around to a hot pepper if you want to. You can adjust the sweetness, and it doesn't really affect the pickling. So this is something that you can really play with, and you can make these pickles your own. But this is the base recipe that I started with, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you today. Let's get started. I've got about a week's worth of pickles. I think this was somewhere around 15 or 16 pickles, but this is what those Market Moors have been producing every single week consistently, which is awesome because I get about 4 quarts of pickles. But I'm just washing those up, making sure there's no grit in there before I start slicing them up and processing them. I do cut the ends off of my pickles. My grandma said that if you don't, it makes them bitter, and I've never tested that theory. So I'm cutting the ends off, and then I'll cut them about somewhere in between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thick. I'm not super accurate on my cuts. Jay likes the thinner ones, I like the thicker ones, so I just kind of mix them. With those, I'm also going to thinly slice an onion and a bell pepper. I usually do hotter peppers, like even a cayenne or a jalapeno, but those aren't ready in my garden right now, so the bell peppers are what went in there just because I didn't have anything else at this time. Now you're gonna see me throw on an insane amount of salt. This is sea salt. You can also use kosher salt or pickling salt, but I just put it on some sea salt and mix them around, and then I'll throw those in the refrigerator and just let them sit from anywhere to 2 to 4 hours. Mine sat about 3 hours. You can stir them as you go, but what you're trying to do here is release a lot of the water so your pickles will stay good and crisp. Now you do want younger pickles, not older pickles, because the older pickles will be a bit mushy and won't hold their shape as well. So that's why I usually do mine a week or 2 old and no more than that if I've picked them already. But you can decide what you want to do there. But just test it out and see what works for you. So once they sit in the fridge for a while, you're going to see that they release a lot of water. So what I'm going to do is just drain off that water and then rinse the poo out of these things. Now you rinse them for a long time. The best way to do this would be to get a colander and rinse them, and you're just trying to get all that salt off. Now it did absorb some of the salt, which is why I usually wait about a week before I open these and start eating them. But yeah, we're just gonna try to get the majority of that salt off. But if they feel a little salty when you first take a bite of them, right after you process them, just wait a week and they'll probably be good. Now I'm making my brine, and I'm just using 3 cups of white vinegar and 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. And I'm mixing that up with 4 cups of sugar, and I'm gonna dissolve that sugar. Then we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of whole mustard seed, 1 teaspoon of celery seed, 1 tablespoon of turmeric, and that's just for color, but I like to put it in there. I also add a teaspoon of peppercorns, and a teaspoon of whole cloves. You can use ground cloves too. I would just use a little bit less. And my favorite ingredient would be the 2 cloves of garlic. I probably was a little heavy-handed and added 1 more. I don't think that you can add too much garlic. Personal opinion here, but I'm a garlic lover. Now you're just gonna let that simmer to meld all the flavors together. You don't really want it to boil. We're just melting the sugar here and then letting it simmer for a little bit, not too long. So I'm just gonna put those rinsed veggies in here and just pack them pretty much as full as I can. I ended up with those 16 cucumbers. I ended up with 4.5 quart jars. So that's not too bad for a week's worth of cucumber. If you've been around for a little while, you know I only have 1 burner. So the way I get away with sterilizing jar lids and stuff is I just put them in a bowl and then put boiling water on top of them and let them sit. That kind of works for me. I'm just gonna prep the water bath canner with hot water. It takes forever for my water bath canner to actually boil water. So I'm just gonna do that with hot water, so maybe it'll speed things up a bit, and I make sure I put on the lid. I would normally use a funnel to fill these, but I can't find mine. I think that it's over at my brother's because we pickled over there last time. But I'm just filling these up with the brine, just making sure that they go over the pickles. And then I'm going to take out the air bubbles from the sides as much as I can and put the lids and rings on, and then they'll be ready to water bath. My water bath canner at Target for like 15 bucks. It was a whole kit for 15 bucks because it had a chip on the top, and I really don't care what it looks like, and that doesn't really hurt anything. So that's a good tip if you're learning to can. You don't know if you're going to stay with it. It's just to grab one off the clearance rack. I've seen them every single year at Target on the clearance rack. So they're a little bit rough on their canners over there in shipping or something. So maybe check there if you're looking to can for the first time. Now these will just water bath for 10 minutes. And make sure that you have 1 inch of water over the top. If you turn out to be short, you can add some boiling water on top. I do that all the time because I never estimate the correct amount of water to go in my water bath canner. enjoyed this. Now I have some that I can put right in the fridge and then 4 cans to put away for later. If you're afraid of pickling, stop. Don't be afraid. It is pretty simple. It's pretty easy. It's a little bit hard to mess up. If you are having problems with your pickles staying crisp, because that's one of the common problems, make sure your ends are cut off. Make sure your pickles are not too old and seedy, because those can make squishy pickles. And if you're putting them straight in the fridge, then maybe put them in the brine and let them boil for, or simmer with the brine for about 5 minutes, and then put them in the jar and stick them in the fridge. I don't do that because I water bath mine, so that gives them the cook time that it would be just to put them all in the brine. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about these pickles, let me know. I will definitely be doing my dill pickle recipe as well. They're a very unique pickle. It's my grandma's recipe, and it's not like a pickle you'd get at the grocery store. So I don't know why it's different, but it tastes so much different when you do it yourself. But I'll be sharing that with you on my next batch of pickles. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to chat with you in the comments. Let me know if you have questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.